There's no profession less respected nor more meaningless than influencers. The fucking people that clean up cum from porn sets are more respected in the professional world. The two dudes that make the liquid ass spray have a more valuable contribution than the influencer's content. The term influencer has such a negative connotation to it, it's just become synonymous with narcissistic asshole and giant douchebag. When most people hear the word influencer, they immediately think of those Instagram marketing cyborgs that look like they're human, but they're actually just ventriloquist dummies for companies to stick their hand up their asshole and make them talk about products, every single post being a sponsored advertisement. But I imagine very few people think of cold-blooded killers in this kind of profession. But today I'm going to tell you about a man, nay, greater, an influencer, who took a very dark path when his ego lost control. Today I learned about a man named Rossi Adams who was sentenced to 14 years in prison for attempting to murder a man over a domain name. So Rossi Adams owned the popular Instagram account Do It For The State or State Snaps. I'm really not sure. He had like 1,000 different accounts. This dude had more fucking accounts than World of Warcraft gold farmers. And he accumulated over 1 million followers. And the content was just amateur porn from college students. And he recycled it across all these accounts constantly. And he had a website called doitforthestate.com. But he didn't like it because it was do it for, the number 4, thestate.com. But he wanted do it for, F-O-R, thestate.com. Really petty shit, but to him, this was the Gordian knot that needed to be cut. If he could get that domain name, this would launch him in the same playing field as the greats such as Elon Musk and Steve Jobs. This was going to be his magnum opus, if only he could get that damn domain name. But unfortunately, it was held by a different man. And this wasn't just any man. This was a guy born with bulletproof skin. I swear to God, they must have broken into fucking 50 Cent's house for this domain name. I'll get to that in a second, but just to paint the scene, from 2015 to 2017, he was in negotiations with the doitforthestate.com domain holder to try and buy it from him, which he didn't want to budge. He didn't want to give it to him. He did at one point say he'll sell it to him for $20,000, but Rossi Adams declined, saying it was too high. So when his desperation finally hit its melting point, he hatched a scheme, Ocean's 11 style, but with none of the actual thought process behind it. His plan was to hire his cousin, who was a convicted criminal, to go to the guy's house and scare him or murder him into giving him the domain. Now, on June of 2017, his cousin Sherman goes to the guy's house in Iowa. They tracked him down, they found his house. Sherman goes into the house and starts pistol whipping the man until he's ready to budge on the domain. The man never budged. I don't know who the fuck's house this was. I don't know who owns doitforthestate.com. Maybe it's fucking Jack Bauer from 24. I don't know. Dude's getting pistol whipped, still doesn't budge. Wasn't giving away the domain name. So Sherman shot him in the leg. And this is when he went a little too far. He bit off more than he could chew on this one. The condom was a little too big for this penis, because when he shot him in the leg, the domain holder lashed out, wrestled the gun away from Sherman, and shot Sherman in the chest multiple times before calling the police. The police get there, both men survive. Sherman is now getting 20 years in prison, and Rossi Adams 14 years for the conspiracy here to commit this crime. That is fucking hardcore. I tried to visit that website because I thought it might put like a little extra hair on my chest, make me a little taller, my muscles bigger or something after this kind of story attributed to its fucking securing of the domain. But unfortunately, when I try to go to doitforthestate.com, it just brings me to GoDaddy. So I'm guessing it means he's not using it, which is just a fucking disservice to the world. To the brave fucking bulletproof man who owns doitforthestate.com, do something with it. You went to war over that shit. You fucking bled for that. You shot men for that website. Fucking use it for something now, man. God damn. I've got to see what he's going to cook up for this website. It's got to be big plans. This could be the next Apple, for God's sakes. My God, what a story behind that. Such an innocent sounding domain name. Obviously, he's probably just a domain squatter, which is very possible, but let's hope for this one exception, he'll turn it into something great. Incredible, though. This just goes to show how some influencers' ego is just truly out of control, where they feel they're entitled to things that they're absolutely not entitled to, and it shows a scary side of them. I think that's the lesson to take away from that behavior. And if you don't believe me about some of these people being psychopaths, just go look no further than the American Influencer Awards. Those just happened like a month ago. I have never seen a group of more narcissistic, deplorable degenerates than I have watching the American Influencer Award. It is 4 hours worth of them just sucking each other's assholes, and it's pathetic. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with considering yourself an influencer, though if you're going around calling yourself an influencer, you're probably not a lot of fun to be around in the first place. But I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that kind of identity, you taking on that kind of identity. But please, stop being like these kind of awful people. No one wants to have the term influencer shoved so far down their throat that they're just unable to breathe. And I think that's what it's becoming, which is why people have such a negative view of influencers and view that whole profession as just incredibly toxic. That's all. I just really wanted to share this story here and talk about influencers in general, I suppose. That's about it. So yeah.